KY3 News starts now.
Next at 6, state of emergency.
So you can only imagine what that would do to a person, a vehicle.
A dangerous situation turns deadly, plus flood warnings, water rescues, and evacuations.
And the fire department just came to our door about an hour ago and said you need to go as soon as possible.
We have all the bases covered with complete team coverage to keep you and your family safe. From KY3 News, I'm Paula Morehouse. A dangerous situation unfolding right now all across the Ozarks, prompting Missouri's governor to declare a state of emergency. One person is dead, and torrential downpours is leading to widespread flooding, creating problems on area roads, lakes, and rivers. And this is just the beginning. We have team coverage of the major weather events, starting with our own KY3's meteorologist, Abby Dyer, who is tracking this system. Abby, what's the latest?
Well, Paula, our weather system is just still ongoing. I'd love to tell you that this is the last surge of moisture that we're going to see in the Ozarks, but that is just not the case as we head into this evening and overnight tonight. Still torrential rain falling all across the radar. Radar is a mess. We have really heavy rainfall. We have flash flood warnings. We have severe thunderstorm warnings, and we've even had some areas in what we call a flash flood emergency. One of those still in effect until about midnight here in the Springfield area. The city of Springfield under a flash flood emergency. Same story in Cassville, same story in Branson, and now just issued under a flash flood emergency. We have portions of Ozark County and Howell County because of the torrential rainfall that's happening there right now. All of these showers generally are moving up to the northeast. If we zoom in a little bit more, Gainesville, I'm hearing, is being evacuated right now within the last 10 minutes. People going to the businesses down there, getting people out of the low-lying spots, moving them to high ground. We have torrential rains falling all along Highway 160. The intersection of 160 and Highway 5 may need to be closed. I'm hearing that there's water over the roadway. Travelers are having a hard time getting through. This extends all the way back into Howell County. I mean, rain is just coming down in buckets as we head into West Plains. There could even be some high winds in here too. With the saturated ground, it doesn't take much of a wind to start seeing some trees toppling over. I haven't heard any reports out of Howell County just yet, but I'll be listening for that as we head through the rest of the afternoon. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning to tell you about. This one impacts portions of Benton and Washington counties until 6:15 p.m. Hail is the biggest concern there, and all of that is tracking to the northeast. Now, I told you this wasn't the end. If you look back well to our southwest, we are looking at just this steady stream of moisture heading our direction. We have wave after wave of rainfall in the forecast as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Flash flood warnings prompted all along I-44 areas to the south, back into most of our counties in north central Arkansas as well. Flash flood watch is going to go until Sunday night. This is not the end of the rainfall, but look at some of the incredible totals. It's already been a record-setting day, and we are not done with the rain just yet. In Houston, our weather watcher, 9.7 inches since the storm system began just yesterday evening, and we are really seeing the rain just come over the rain gauge. In a lot of places, folks are having to dump it out and start over. I mentioned that this is not the end. Here's a look at Futurecast as we head into the after dark hours. I think this is when things really get dangerous. A life-threatening situation for the Ozarks tonight, Paula. We are talking about high water. Once the sun goes down, you can't see any roadways that could be covered. Maybe you even can't see the barricades. An incredibly dangerous situation setting up for us overnight tonight. We'll have heavy rain on the radar after midnight. I'm going to be back in just a few minutes, walking through Futurecast as we head into Sunday, and I'm going to tell you how many more inches of rainfall are going to be possible as we head into the overnight hours tonight.
Yeah, Abby, and as we know, the severe flooding has already turned deadly. This afternoon, the Highway Patrol says a woman's body was recovered during a water rescue south of Clever along Highway K at the Stone Christian County line. Troopers tell KY3 News they were able to rescue a man there, but the woman, whose name has not been released yet, did not make it. We'll bring you the latest on this as soon as we get it. And take a look at the drone video. This is over Rockaway Beach. Now, this was taken much earlier today, so the water has risen significantly since then. In fact, Branson Emergency Management is warning people of the, quote, imminent danger of traveling throughout the city because of flash flooding. And throughout Taney County, creeks, rivers, and lakes are all swollen. KY3's Jasmine Dell is live along Lake Taneycomo. And Jasmine, I understand homes are being evacuated and people are fleeing for safer ground.
Paula, that's right. The water keeps rising and some people are being evacuated by authorities. They're going door to door. Earlier today, the city told me that there's about 100 homes that are currently being evacuated in this area. Now, I talked to one resident that had to pack up and leave, and they had to evacuate back in 2015, and now they are waiting out the floodwaters again.
This is the second time we've had to evacuate, so it doesn't get any easier. You just hope it's not going to happen, but it does.
There's also a shelter set up at Branson United Methodist Church for anyone needing a place to stay. We will continue to update you online and on air as we get more information throughout the night. Live in Branson, Jasmine Dell, KY3 News.
And Abby joins us now with a look at how the lakes are all connected and why there is this growing concern for additional flooding. Certainly not over yet, is it, Abby?
It's sure not. No, we're talking about several more inches of rain being possible tonight. I think some of the heaviest rainfall tonight is actually going to fall to our south along the Missouri and Arkansas state line. That's exactly where we have to start thinking about the White River system. Now, this is talking about Beaver Lake, Table Rock Lake, Lake Taneycomo, and eventually Bull Shoals. And this is how the whole system works. So Beaver Lake, it has the smallest reserve, or the smallest reservoir. It can only hold 1,128.6 feet of water, or that's where it's at right now. Table Rock, a little bit bigger, so once Beaver fills up, they'll start letting out into Table Rock. They've already opened the dam at Table Rock because it hit 920. Right now, 922.6 at last check, and Bull Shoals sitting at 668.3. As far as the lakes are concerned right now, they all have a little bit of room left, but as we start flooding down the line, that's where we could start to see some issues right around the dams. We'll see some high water come up. A lot of these area lakes are going to come up to their banks, Paula. We'll start to see that process happen later tonight as we head into the overnight hours and even into your Sunday. If you are a dock owner, a boat owner, and you have a boat out in one of these lakes, you need to be paying attention to what the lake level is. They are all going to be rising pretty rapidly. I'm hearing about some very fast rises at Lake Taneycomo. We'll be monitoring this and, of course, keep you informed, as well as some of the area rivers that are going to be coming up fast, too.
All right, Abby, thank you. And speaking of all this flooding, the James River is also flowing over its banks and pouring over roadways. KY3's Katie Brousseau joins us from the James River just south of Springfield. Katie, pretty dangerous situation out there.
Yeah, Paula, it really is. We are talking a whole lot of water. Go ahead and take a look around. This, like you said, is the James River, and clearly the water, well, it's not where it is supposed to be. As you can see, at last check, the level here at James River, more than 18 feet. That is about 6 feet above flood level. So the rain, as you can see, continues to fall. So that means this already high water is probably going to continue to rise. Now, high water like this in rivers and streams across the Ozarks is making it tough to get around. I shot this video earlier today in Christian County around the Findlay River. The Ozark Fire Chief took me around to see some of those impacted areas. Lots of road closures. The park there in Ozark is completely covered. They've closed the park and the bridge to traffic. The county road by one man's home looks like a river, and a nearby creek is spilling into the road, and it's washing away the gravel. He says that's not only a problem for him, but also his neighbors. The fire chief says it's areas like this that can be very dangerous if you try to go across it in a car.
This is Parched Corn Road. It goes out to Highway 125. Behind you, as you see, they have it barricaded. That goes out to Smyrna Church.
You can see the current. Once it gets over the road, that type of current occurs over the top of the roadway. So you can only imagine what that would do to a person, a vehicle.
Now, as I told you, I shot that video earlier today, and since then, we have learned that the Findlay River, of course, has risen even more. Water, we understand, has actually flowed into Jackson Street and has went into some buildings there, including the Ozarks High School Career Center. So clearly, we are dealing with a very serious situation as this rain continues to fall. Waters are continuing to rise. So please heed the warnings, be safe, stay informed, and of course, turn around, find another route, turn around, don't drown. Reporting live in Springfield, Katie Brousseau, KY3 News.
And over to Texas County, the Big Piney River is spilling over its banks, and you can see barricades are up on streets all around the river. Joining me now is Texas County Sheriff James Sigmund. Sheriff, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us how the situation is looking right now in your county.
Well, right now we're under a lot of flooding. We have 63 highway was just shut off. Just south of Houston, near H Highway, B Highway, BB Highway, M Highway, U Highway, 17 highway in both directions. So basically, it's shut down travel in Texas County. So the rivers are.
Sheriff, for people trying to go out and about, what is your advice to them at this point?
My advice is to stay home. You know, if you don't have to travel, if it's not an emergency, everyone just needs to stay home. You can't safely get around this county. You can't. There's no alternate routes right now to get from one end to the other. We have officers staged at different ends of the county because, you know, I can't even make it from one end to the other.
Hey, Sheriff, you raise a good point there. If somebody were to become in an incident, it would be difficult for emergency crews to get to them. Can you elaborate?
Yes, I mean, that's correct. Right now we have officers on each end of the county because we can't even get from one side to the other because of road closings and just the flooding that's going on. So we're just working this in segments right now.
I'm sure you've been in Texas County a long time. Can you put this into context? When's the last time you have seen it to this level, this flooding to this level?
I've been here almost all my life, and I've never seen the water this high. This is the highest I've seen it, and I'm afraid it's going to get worse before the night's over. So my advice is just everyone to stay home. If you start experiencing flooding and need assistance, call us. We have boats available in the area. We'll get to you as quick as we can. But other than that, stay home.
Sheriff James Sigmund, thank you for joining us tonight. Great advice to our viewers at home. Stay home if you can. Several emergency shelters have been set up for people forced from their homes by the gushing water. They include the Branson United Methodist Church, the old Reed Spring Middle School, Monette's United Methodist Church, and Winona Senior Center. Bring a few days of supplies with you, including clothing, medication, and other personal necessities. This endless downpour is creating a dangerous situation in small towns. That includes Cassville and Reed Spring. KY3's Kate Alt shows us how people are coping there.
The first round of storms today left a big mess here at Roaring River State Park in Cassville. You can see this big tree branch laying across the bridge that cars are usually able to drive over near the hatchery. And there are just tree limbs and branches and mud everywhere from that first round of strong storms. The campgrounds here at Roaring River were evacuated around 3 o'clock this morning due to high water, and those do remain closed. But the park is open. Officials just asked that you don't drive over roads or bridges that are blocked off with cones or blockades because they've likely had some flood water crossing over them at some point today. Floodwater and a little bit of rain, however, didn't stop one family trip. The family comes in from Tulsa every year to visit Roaring River State Park to do some fishing, and they decided to come out this weekend, rain or shine.
We knew it was going to rain, but we didn't know how much. Sometimes, you know, the rain always goes around, so we just gambled.
You still glad you came out?
Yeah, it's fun. I've never seen this river like this before, so.
Over in Reed Spring, their downtown was hit hard, swallowed up by rushing water. Spring Road looked more like a river up there. They did have one water rescue getting a gentleman from a wheelchair out of his house and into safety, but the water was rushing from Spring Road down into the basin where the railroad tracks are. Officials were trying their best to keep people from driving through all that standing water in the downtown area.
Don't underestimate the power of the water running across the road. It could be a lot deeper than what you think, and it running a lot faster than what you think.
The emergency shelter in Reed Spring will be open through the weekend, and that's located at the old middle school. As far as traveling around anywhere in Missouri this weekend, just remember, turn around, don't drown. We cannot say that enough, and we've seen lots of people trying to drive through standing water, but you're not only putting your life at risk, but also the lives of those who might have to come and rescue you if you lose control of your vehicle. Reporting in Cassville, Kate Alt, KY3 News.
And it is safe to assume a majority, if not all, low water crossings across the Ozarks are flooded. I want you to take a look at this MoDOT's traveler map. I have never seen it this covered in the red and white bubbles here. That indicates a road is closed because of flooding. Look at that across the entire state of Missouri. Tons of roads are closed because they're flooded. We should tell you that this map does not even include county roads, so the situation is even worse than this. You can find a link to this map and our interactive radar all over on KY3.com. And remember, we also have a free KY3 Storm Team app, so you can use it on the go. And our meteorologists are also posting video updates, and don't forget to share your pictures of flooding with us. Just look for the link, but please do so only if you can take those images from a safe location. And speaking of that very thing, many of you have already been helping us out in our coverage by sending in photos and video of all the flooding. Here are just several of those snapshots. Thank you for all those. Abby will be back in just a few minutes with rainfall totals and how much more is expected to fall. But first, a check of the day's other top stories. That's next.
Number 1 in the Ozarks. You're watching KY3 News at 6. With Paula Morehouse, Storm Team meteorologist Liz McGiffin, and sports with Joe Hickman. The place to be. On air, online, on the go.
Before we get to your other news of the day, this just came in. Branson Landing retailers have closed their stores at 6 o'clock this evening. They actually closed their stores because of the flooding. I wanted to pass that along. It does say that some select restaurants are open, but if you have plans, you will want to call ahead to see if the restaurant you had planned to go to is open. But again, the Branson Landing retailers closed tonight at 6 o'clock because of flooding. Stay tuned. In other news, new information to a story we first brought you last night. Police believe alcohol was a factor in a deadly head-on crash at Lake Springfield last night. Officers say a pickup crossed the center line of Kissick Avenue and hit another truck. The driver of the truck that veered into the wrong lane was killed. He hasn't been identified at this point. The other driver had minor injuries. It was Springfield's 4th deadly crash this year. A gas leak prompted an evacuation of several homes in Nixa today. City spokesman says a homeowner smelled gas, which was then detected in a total of 5 homes. Hillcrest Avenue was shut down while the gas company came in to seal that leak. No one was hurt. Back to our weather. We are keeping a close eye on the radar this evening. Heavy rain and flooding hitting the Ozarks hard. Here is another live look at Lake Taneycomo in Branson. We'll get to that a little bit later. Here's a look at the radar. Water rapidly rising all over the Ozarks where there are creeks, rivers, and lakes. Abby's back next with how much more rain we could see, and then maybe some good news when we could finally dry out.
And now, your KY3 Storm Team forecast.
Welcome back, everybody. We have some major issues across the Ozarks with flash flooding and even severe weather at this point. This storm system is far from over. I know it feels like it should be. It's been raining for more than 24 hours in some places across the Ozarks now, but we are not done with the shower activity just yet. I still have torrential rain in the forecast, numerous flash flood warnings in effect, a flash flood watch in effect, severe thunderstorm warnings, and even flash flood emergencies. Those emergency areas, they include the city of Springfield. They also included places like Cassville, and we're going to see the rainfall, the heavy rainfall, move back into places like Taney County and Stone County, Branson, right over Table Rock Lake. We're going to see those rivers and streams come up a little bit more, not cresting until tomorrow for most rivers. Notice that the heavy rainfall is still ongoing over here in portions of Taney and Ozark and Howell counties as well. In fact, Ozark and Howell counties, you are now added to that emergency flash flood warning. We continue to see the heavy torrential rains fall out here, hearing about a lot of issues around Gainesville and along Highway 160. There are some real trouble spots. I'm hearing about some homes damaged near Tecumseh, maybe some water rescues happening. Use extreme caution if you are in this area. We've just had so much water in a very short period of time. The ground is saturated. Now we're dealing with the runoff, and it just has no place to go. We're going to continue to hold on to these flash flood emergencies until after midnight tonight. Bakersfield has had some issues there as well. We also have recently added a severe thunderstorm watch back into the forecast. Now this lasts until 10 p.m. and it's mainly impacting our northern Arkansas counties. We've seen a few of the storms down here go a bit severe, and that's what we have on the radar right now. One severe thunderstorm warning in particular to tell you about, but it's impacting 4 counties. Baxter, Marion, and Searcy counties in our viewing area are under this warning. It does include the town of Marshall. You've already been under a warning so far this afternoon. Hail is the biggest concern with this one. Torrential rains then as you head up to the north toward Highway 5. Mountain Home, you're about to see a light show. The west side of the town already getting the heavy rainfall, and we're seeing lots of thunder and lightning on that tower cam in Mountain Home. When you add up the rainfall over this storm system event, it is so impressive. In fact, the heaviest bands have been just where we expected, south of I-44, right along the Missouri and Arkansas state line. Way too much, though, in a short period of time. Look at some of the radar estimates from around the region. Near the Houston area up in Texas County, radar is estimating 8.3 inches. I actually heard from our weather watcher that lives up there. He had 9.7 inches of rainfall. That's why we're seeing some problems up there with the Big Piney. We've had 7 inches of rainfall in portions of Douglas County. Head back closer to Gainesville, 6.7. The problems continue as you head back to our southwestern counties. Much of northern Arkansas seeing more than 5-6 inches of rainfall, and we had that problem continue into Berry County, McDonald County, and even up to the north in Newton County, almost as far to the northeast as Freistadt. Flash flood warnings are in effect in all the red shaded categories that you see here along and south of I-44. We're holding on to the flash flood watch as well. This does not expire until tomorrow night, very late. Here's the tower cam in Mountain Home. Severe thunderstorm warning is active there right now. If you watch some of our tower cams, you can go to ky3.com and tune in. The tower cams are shaking. It's going to be quite a light show there. We're talking about torrential rains. Flash flooding is a huge concern, but I also think there's going to be some hail that's possible in some of these storms that are coming out of this storm cell in Mountain Home. 61 degrees right now in the Springfield area. We really haven't warmed much more than that. In northern Arkansas, though, today we were in the mid-70s. All of it had to do with the location of that warm front, and that's really what led to some of the training of the storms that we had across the Ozarks early this morning through the afternoon, and the ones that will continue on the radar as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Here we are at 10 p.m. Notice there will be some pockets of just torrential rains even on the radar after midnight tonight. We may have more flash flood warnings and perhaps even some flash flood emergencies as we head into the overnight hours. Eastern counties have been soaked in many spots, and you're going to have heavy rain on the radar through about 3-4 o'clock in the morning. We finally start to get some relief on Sunday. There will be some scatty shower and thunderstorm activity scattered in nature. That's going to be on the radar through early in the day on Sunday. We eventually see some of this pull to the east, but we're still talking about several inches of rain here, folks. I think it's going to be some trouble as we head into the overnight hours. I urge you, do not drive after dark tonight. It is so difficult to see where the high water is. I think we're definitely going to have some problems tonight, and we do not want our emergency crews, our emergency responders out on the roads either. It is just so dangerous to be out. Rivers are rising. Katie told you about that earlier. We're seeing some increases with the James near Springfield, as well as down near Galena. Here are just some reminders for you. River flooding will continue. This is going to continue to increase. Those rivers just ooze up. You don't even notice it until the water's just too high that it's crossing the road. Just some reminders for you. There will be road closures. There will be detours. We're going to have damage to property from floodwater. We're going to have erosion, places where the roads are washed out. You don't know what's underneath those floodwaters. We could have structural damage, so stay informed. Pay attention to the newscasts and find out where some of the dangerous spots are across the region. As we look at the top 5 wettest Aprils, now we're on the board. Number 4, 10.10 inches of rain for the month after this event, and we are not done with the month just yet. We're going to add to that number as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Temps tonight about 60 degrees in Springfield and in Harrison, a southeast wind in the forecast. Tomorrow temperatures are going to be back into the mid-60s. It's not going to feel too nice though. I have really windy conditions, temperatures that will be falling through the day. The extended forecast shows you we do eventually get some days to dry out, Paula, but more rain is in the forecast for Wednesday. We are looking forward to those dry days, but the ground is going to be soggy for a long, long time after this.
Yeah, we need those dry days. Abby, thank you. As you expect, the rain is certainly playing havoc with today's baseball action. Joe Hickman has an update next in sports, as well as the latest from the NFL draft.
Sports with Joe Hickman starts now.
On this day where the weather washed out most of the sporting events, Missouri State linebacker Dylan Cole from Rogersville also had a little rain on his parade as far as being picked in the NFL draft. Not one of the 253 players chosen, but he has been invited to try out for the Houston Texans as a non-drafted free agent. 6'1" and 240 pounds, some NFL scouts apparently discounted his size as a linebacker and held it against him that he played for an FCS mid-major program.
I would say there's plenty of FCS players that are playing right now. I would say there's plenty of people that are shorter than I am that are playing linebacker, lighter than I am, playing linebacker, shorter arms than I am, playing linebacker. So at the end of the day, they're just trying to put critiques out there because those are their jobs. Their job is to see why you can't play for them.
Meanwhile, the Chiefs added 4 more players in rounds 3 through 6, a running back, wide receiver, linebacker, and safety. And with Jamal Charles no longer around, one of their most intriguing picks came in round 3 with Kareem Hunt, a stout running back out of Toledo.
We really like his running style. We like his contact balance, his ability to run the ball. I think he had 48 receptions this year. You know, early on he had some, he weighed a little bit heavier than he normally does. He goes to the Senior Bowl where he displays at 206 pounds. He's a hard man to stop. I mean, he's a pretty good running back. You guys are going to like him.
Mizzou had just 1 player chosen as linebacker Charles Harris was taken by the Dolphins. Arkansas had defensive end Dietrich Wise. As we go to the Patriots. Tight end Jeremy Sprinkle picked up by the Redskins, and defensive end Jeremiah Ledbetter headed to the Lions. And speaking of those Razorbacks, they had their spring game down in Fayetteville, but it was forced indoors because of the weather, and there was no tackling, and it was just basically another practice. Running back Raleigh Williams, who rushed for 1,300 yards last year, got hurt in this one, but Coach Brett Bielema said it was nothing serious.
Thankfully, Raleigh's okay, just a pretty severe stinger. But what I like about today is, they were all counting on a scrimmage. You can obviously see we should be building an arc here today. It's coming down with lightning, so we had to come inside. This is the last day the NCAA would let us practice, so I thought they approached today the right way.
In baseball, the Cards and Royals both rained out. St. Louis's home game against Cincinnati. No schedule makeup day yet because tomorrow's scheduled doubleheader is probably going to be in trouble too. And Kansas City's home game against the Twins will be made up as part of a July 1st doubleheader. Meanwhile, the Springfield Cardinals game tonight at Hammons Field against Arkansas also rained out. And when we left you late last night, the 2 teams were tied at 7 heading into the 10th inning, and it was there that this infield single by Bruce Caldwell with a man on third brought home the winning run for the Cardinals in their 8-7 victory that kept them in first place in a tie with Northwest Arkansas. And the Missouri State Bears trying to get in their game in Evansville, Indiana. This is one they started last night, and the Bears won it 13-8 to remain undefeated at 10-0 in the Valley. They have started their second game, and they have one more scheduled for tomorrow. Although the animals are lining up 2 by 2, so we'll see how things turn out.
They are. Thank you, Joe. We'll be right back. This is not over by a long shot, is it, Abby?
It's not, yeah, and that's really what I want to stress. As we head into the overnight hours tonight, I know it feels like the event should be over, winding down. We're just kind of in a lull in some of our northern counties. More rain, heavy rain at that is on the way. We're going to see wave after wave overnight tonight. I think we're going to prompt some more flash flood emergencies tonight. We will likely see some incredible flooding by morning. Rivers, streams are going to continue to come up. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning down in northern Arkansas. It does include Mountain Home. Heaviest rain is falling right now in portions of Ozark and Howell counties, and we'll continue to watch those heavy rain showers. I'm hearing that they closed portions of Highway 63, Highway 160 closed in spots. Major issues there. Flood damage is going to be kind of the main story in this part of the viewing area. We'll continue to hold on to the severe thunderstorm watch. This lasts until 10 o'clock tonight. Not really worried about any tornadic activity. I think hail and flash flooding are going to be our main concerns for the rest of the overnight hours tonight. We'll hold on to this warning just for a little while longer. Again, hail the main concern here. That's going to be moving up to Mountain Home. We'll keep you posted, of course, KY3.com, Facebook, Twitter. If you can't miss us, we'll break into coverage.
Thank you. Thank you for watching, folks. Remember, turn around, don't drown. We'll see you tonight at 9 and 10.